If you have £100 left over each month, you might be wondering what actually happens if you were to invest it. Well, in my 9 years of investing experience, I can tell you it's not a straight line to wealth. And there's a point in this journey where nearly everyone wants to quit, but those who push through are usually glad that they did. So today I'll talk you through the journey of investing £100 a month, and by the end you'll know exactly whether it's worth it or not. Let's pretend I'm starting completely from scratch with £100 a month, zero experience on a simulated portfolio. I'm genuinely excited. I don't know it all, but it certainly feels like a commitment to my future financial progress. And so I've done what everybody else does, and I've gone onto Google and I've typed in, what is the best stocks and shares ISA? These are just tax-free investment accounts, by the way, where the growth inside them and the dividends that you may receive are shielded from the taxman. I click on Money Saving Expert because I trust Martin Lewis with my life. I scroll down and I see Trading 2 on 2 is in the top spot. Having done some more research, I download the app in the App Store, and I also use the promo code Mitch to get one free fractional share valued up to £100 to help get started. I've clicked into the search icon and I'm presented with hundreds, maybe even thousands of different options to choose from. Individual stocks, ETFs, bonds, commodities. It's all there, but I'm completely overwhelmed with choice. I'm wondering, do I put £100 into a company I've heard of before, or do I spread that £100 into 10 different ones? I'm almost at a point of decision paralysis where I might not even bother because it's too confusing. This is where the reality of being an uninformed investor in stage 1 kicks in. It's the moment that some people quit before they even get started, not because investing is too expensive, but because it's too confusing. But here's what changed my mind. I remembered something from some research that I'd read that said that even professional fund managers who pick individual stocks for a living mostly fail to beat the market over time. And when researchers look back at individual stocks going back decades, the vast majority actually did worse than just parking cash in something as boring as treasury bills. So instead of asking myself who's going to be the next Nvidia, I asked myself, do I believe the global economy will still continue to grow over the next 30 years? Now, of course, I believe that to be true, so I landed on the decision to just buy the whole market. I looked through the most popular ETF category, selected a global fund from my research, and invested my first £100. Okay, fast forward 12 months, I've done everything that I said I was going to do. I've invested £100 a month, every single month, without fail, for a total of £1,200. It's grown, but not by much. My portfolio balance is now only £1,260. It probably feels like a bigger commitment than your last relationship, but after sticking with it for a full year, to only get an extra 60 quid hardly feels worth it. And the truth is, I've sacrificed my daily coffees at work, I've cancelled my Netflix subscription, but to be honest, it kind of all just feels pointless given the average house deposit right now is upwards of £31,000. During this stage of the investor cycle, you're not confused anymore, you know exactly what you're investing in and why. After all, you've ridden out a full year of the ebbs and flows of the stock market, but you're still questioning, is all of this actually worth it? The progress is slow, and at this point some may be questioning whether it's just better to wait to earn a little bit more money before actually getting started. But look, let me just say this, according to an FCA report, apparently 1 in 10 UK adults have no emergency savings at all, and a further 21% have less than £1,000 set aside. And whilst I would encourage everybody to have an emergency fund in place before starting to invest, just looking at the portfolio value alone puts you ahead of over a third of the UK population. At this point in time, it certainly doesn't change the financial gap that I have, but it does change how I feel about my financial progress that I'm making, even if it is slow and steady. But what I didn't fully appreciate at this point in the timeline is that the compound effect hasn't kicked in yet, given I've contributed 95% of the total value of my portfolio. And that's because wealth isn't established over 1 year, not even 5 years. It's decades of one consistent habit of investing every single month. But in that first 5 years, statistically speaking, it may get worse before it gets better. It will make you question everything, and it may make you want to quit altogether. Okay, imagine this. I'm now 4 years into my investing journey, still doing that £100 a month, and the market has provided average market returns up until this point. The portfolio is now valued at £5,963, and my unrealized profit is £1,163. But then something happened that statistically occurs every 3.5 years on average, and that's a stock market crash of 20% or more. Here are a list of them throughout history where you can see the average sell-off equated to 35.24%. Now obviously we're talking about hypotheticals in this video, but if I applied that same 35.24% decline to my portfolio, well, it would take my balance down from £5,963 to just £3,861 and some change, a decline on the portfolio equivalent to this much. But what's even worse, the portfolio would now be sat in unrealized losses of £939. 4 years of commitment undone and nearly £1,000 in the red from doing so. I'm now further away from my financial goals than I was when I started, and this is where stage 3 really starts to kick in. It's the valley of despair, and it's where investors are the most vulnerable, and also where the biggest mistakes happen because of the urge to sell and quit. The headlines are just all doom and gloom, and it's impossible to see the wood through the trees given that the stock market just continues to keep going down. But here's the thing, this is where investors have their downfall because they sell at the wrong time. It's created something which researchers have called the investment return gap, which is where investors underperform market averages due to trying to time the market or jumping in and out of positions at different times. The context that I think is important here is in this table. It shows returns after 10 of the worst single-day drops in the S&P 500, which were all in the middle of disastrous market crashes. We're talking Black Monday, the financial crisis, and even the 2020 crash. But what's important here is that it shows after 1 year, in 9 of those 10 crashes, the markets were back in the green. And after 3 years after those terrible one-day declines, the market had provided a positive return on investment. It just goes to show the importance of time in the market, and so I didn't sell. I put my portfolio down for a few weeks and I kept my long-term hat on. And this was the best decision that I could have ever made because this is the start of the transformation that I think you're all here for. I've adopted this investing philosophy that during the best and the worst of months, I'll still continue to invest my £100 regardless, even if the headlines are still screaming and my portfolio being deep in the red. Because as time passes, markets recover. It's been 5 years now since the last market crash that I experienced, and my investment portfolio has now risen in value to £14,488 and some pennies. The unrealized profit on this position is now £4,626 and 38p, but here's what I couldn't see happening in real time when things were bad. Every single month I kept buying whilst prices were down. It meant that £100 bought me more shares of the same fund because it was cheaper than it was before. So now I have more shares in my portfolio which I paid a lower price for. It's almost like going down to the shops to buy something that you were going to buy anyway, only to go on to realize that that thing is on sale. The only big difference here is that I'm buying assets, which historically speaking go up in value over time. And so when they do, my investment portfolio only goes on to benefit more. To share some real data behind this, this is what happened to 2 investors during the dot-com bubble crash in the early 2000s. One invested a $70,000 lump sum, as you can see in the blue line. The other invested $1,000 a month, which you can see in red. You can see the person who lump summed saw a big decline in their portfolio value before a slow and steady recovery, whilst the person cost averaging each month gradually saw their portfolio grow over time and actually outperformed the lump sum investor due to buying in at lower market prices. So all of this took time, a hell of a lot of patience, and definitely holding my nerve when things got tough. But what's really cool now is that I'm actually ahead of 84% of the UK adult population when it comes to the amount which I have saved. This is the informed optimism truly kicking in now. I've overcome stock market adversity, and now the momentum is starting to shift and build in my favour. And now I truly feel like I'm very much on the right path to building my wealth over time. But one thing that could have undone all of that, which so many investors do, is stop investing altogether when things get tough. And here is some real data that shows just how financially disastrous it could have been. Morningstar ran 5 different simulations during difficult market conditions throughout recent history. And they compared one investor who contributed $500 a month versus an investor who stopped investing and waited until markets improved to carry on. In each of these 5 scenarios, you can see the investor who continued buying throughout the bad times ended up with a far bigger portfolio by the time markets had recovered than the investor who stopped and waited. The differences in portfolio values are stark, with some being 30% lower than if they'd just carried on investing. It's what costs investors thousands if they get it wrong, but as now the informed investor, at least I now know how to play it, given that statistically speaking, it's probably going to happen to me again, maybe upwards of 8 times over the duration of a 30-year investing career. So now I feel more in control of my finances than I ever have done before, and this now feels like a bit of a turning point. Because everything that happens from here, the next 20 plus years worth of investing, is less about my portfolio surviving a market crash, and instead is about what the compounding effect can do for me in supporting my financial future. So was investing £100 a month worth it? Well, now I'm going to simulate exactly what happens using a compound calculator and consistent average market returns for the remaining 21 years of this investing journey. So after 30 years in total, I have contributed just shy of £40,000, but the portfolio is valued at £231,168. Over that period of time, the market generated 83% of the wealth for me, given I only contributed 17% towards the end portfolio value. The final stage of success and fulfillment has kicked in because I've achieved a degree of success by following through with a plan to build my wealth patiently over the long term. That's an amazing result. It could be a life-changing amount of money for me, but I have to be honest with you about something. In reality, markets don't move in one consistent upward trend. I deliberately built in one market crash into this model to show you the realities of investing, but the truth is you'll likely experience multiple of these through a 2, 3 or 4 decade investing journey. The fact of the matter is, on some years the market will be up 30% and on other years it will be down 20%, and every year is different. It's impossible to know what will happen in the future, and I guess that's why it's so hard to simulate a portfolio and map it out perfectly. And that's why all of this is just for illustration purposes only. Instead, all we have to go off is historical market averages and just use them as a rough guide, which have historically been 10.74%. But of course, past performance is no guarantee of future results. But that's not all I need to share here, because £231,000 in 30 years from now will not be worth what £231,000 is today, because inflation erodes the value of your money over time. So if we conservatively remove an inflation rate of 3% per year, in real terms, you're actually left with £128,441. That's quite a tough pill to swallow. But on the positive, this amount of money is still the equivalent to like a second pension, given that it's nearly as much as the average pension wealth of your typical 55 to 64-year-old today. So we're actually talking about adding a substantial amount of money to your overall net worth just by sacrificing £100 a month into a stocks and shares ISA. So is it worth it? Well, not if you're expecting to become filthy rich by the age of 40, but if you're looking for meaningful progress towards your future financial goals, then absolutely yes it is. Now if you want to watch this exact journey playing out in real life and not simulated, well, I'm now 3 months into investing £150 a month into a brand new stocks and shares ISA. So if you want to see the progress, be sure to click on this video next. And with that being said, I'll see you over in the next one.